Hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful part of our interview series on YouTube. I'm so happy to be joined by my co-founder, Hannah, and Alexis today, who's going to talk a little bit about their experience with some New York Fashion Week and some little bit of pageantry stuff. And I'm really excited to have this conversation. So let's get right into it. So Alexis, can you start off by just introducing yourself to us?
So I'm Alexis. I'm from Canada, or BC, Canada. I've been in New York Fashion Week a couple of weeks ago, and I'm also a Canada Perfect LGBTQ Woman Queen. I've been doing pageants since 2019 and just starting doing fashion shows.
That's awesome. So I kind of want to start off by asking, how did you get involved in things like pageantry? That's awesome that you've been doing it for so long.
So I kind of saw some program. It was like, hey, you could do these workshops for these pageants. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that pageant. Might get better at doing things. So kind of had fun doing that first pageant and breaking barriers that time. And then went to another one and then another one. And now I'm in my 7th pageant, or some time I've been in one, but virtual and in person. But it was amazing to compete this time and win my newest title, and it's the first title ever in Canada for LGBTQ in this pageant. And so I'm the founder now of the, or you call it something like that.
Trailblazer is the word that I think of.
But I'm also doing fashion show because my director of Canada Perfect is a designer, and we did our first show this year in February, and was amazing experience, and can't wait to do it again in September.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So what does this title mean to you as a member of the LGBTQ plus and disability community?
So being a part of LGBTQ, I'm a transgender, so it's harder for us to get into pageants in Canada, in the US. They're just starting to let us go into pageants, but there are some restrictions. You have to have fully translation, and that means like having the surgeries and full-time rare female, and it's amazing. The pageant I'm part of, it's amazing because it's guys and girls. So there is 6 titles so far I know that is LGBTQ. There's only 3 this year coming. I'm the funner or trailblazer, and then there's two others who join after me in an amazing team I have. And then for being disabled is because of cerebral palsy I have. My speech and grammar is not that great some days. So what I do is kind of like celebrate being on the stage, and I could talk to people. Like when I won my title, I kind of did a speech. And so next month or in August, I'm going to do to the Royals pageant, and I have to do a question and answer part of the interview. And what I was going to do is I'm going to part LGBTQ in it, and then there's another question for disabled. So I'm going to wow them with a nice intro about it and get them be shocked at how much I could prove them, like, hey, inspire others to do it.
That's truly inspiring, and I absolutely love hearing things like that. Yes, break down those barriers in the pageant industry. I just recently had somebody reach out to me who's developing a new kind of in-person pageant, and they had heard about a live that we did with Chanel on the True Faces page, and had heard about the barriers, the physical accessibility barriers that I had kind of faced in an in-person pageant, and they asked me like my input, and they're like, what would you have done to make that experience accessible and inclusive, and how can we include it in this new in-person pageant? And I was so touched that that was something that people were thinking about, and just to know that, you know, something like this interview or like conversations that we have can actually have an impact on things like that and become more inclusive is just absolutely incredible, and I love it.
Like, I'm with this director. I'm part of me and her been talking a lot and trying to figure out how to get more LGBTQ into this pageant. There is LGBTQ, lesbians and gays mostly are in normal pageants, but is transgenders are the hardest ones to get in due to the transition in stage, and then also are they able to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And for being disabled, doesn't matter if you're disabled. You could go on the stage in the carry scene. You could do the walk. You could do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any advice for pageant systems who are maybe looking to become more inclusive to the LGBTQ plus group?
More like for them to talk to me, give me some. I could give them pointers on how to do it. But it's amazing that pageants are working on it. Because of human rights is part of human rights now. For fashion shows, here's something different: is or fashion show I just did in New York called Beauty is Everywhere, and it's amazing group because it doesn't matter who you are, anyone could do it. That pageant, you're disabled, if you're LGBTQ, or you're old, like any age, any weight, anyone could do it, and it did work. And the designer of my outfits are now kind of showcasing all different sizes. So it's amazing.
That's incredible. You know, starting those conversations really is key. How can we make it inclusive, accessible, all of those kind of key components, and make them for everybody?
So, how did you get into modeling, and how did your modeling journey take you to New York Fashion Week? 'Cause that's a pretty big accomplishment.
So what happened is Canada Perfect is a pageant slash model show. And so what I did is learn a lot from there. And the director kind of say, hey, I'm doing fashion show in New York. I would love to have some of my queens for actually you. So I got pointed to go to it and kind of had fun. So my experience was different. It was like, okay, never been to New York. Okay, what do I do? What I can see? But doing fashion show is kind of like, okay, you need to be there the bit day before or two, just so you could do the sights and see. Like me, never been to New York, so I went to Times Square, seeing all the signs, and then getting my picture, a little part of my picture, up on the one of the billboards, and was amazing. I'm like, oh my god, like it's true. Like always watch Times Square on New Year's Eve, and then now I could go right near and see it. But it's the sights and sounds, and doing fashion show walk is different than a pageant walk. So I had to learn, like in a couple weeks before, how to do that different walk. And you're not looking at the people; you're just looking straight at the camera and making sure you showcase their outfits.
I can imagine that feeling so surreal, standing in Times Square, somewhere that you've seen in pictures, videos, that New Year's Eve, and then being able to stand there and even see your picture up there. I can just imagine the incredible feeling of being able to do that and being in an environment that is allowing people of all sizes, abilities, genders to just be a part of this experience. I can't even imagine. That warms my heart. I think that's so cool.
So, what is one piece of advice you would like to give others with or without a disability looking to dream big like yourself and achieve their goals? What would that be?
So my advice is don't give up. Just for your dreams. I'm also a 4-time co-author of a books or 2 type of books. I have 4 chapters now, but it's also like, don't think you're disabled. It's going to stop you. Follow your dreams and you might exceed. Like me being a 4-time author, me never thought I'd be an author ever. A speaker, a podcaster, pageant girl. Like these things, I follow my dreams, and people do say, "Well, you're not good enough." No, just listen to them and just follow your own dreams.
Don't listen to the haters. That's a fantastic piece of advice, and I love that. Truly, be yourself. Just put yourself out there, dream big, and really just go for it. Well, thank you to Alexis so much for joining us today and giving us a little bit of an insight on some really cool experiences and breaking down barriers in some untapped industries, as I like to think of it. If you have made it this part of the video, little promo, if you haven't seen our Purple True Faces t-shirts yet, be sure to check them out in our link tree below. We just got purple and I'm so excited about it. Be that fashion, stay true to you, and thank you for watching.